came today trying to get ahead on the game plan. We met for about a half an hour. Just really, he's that type of wide receiver when he knows what he's doing. That's my biggest challenge to him, to keep trying to learn as much as possible, because when he plays fast, I think people saw last week he has the talent to do it for us.
What do you think about the group overall last week? I mean, that's as good as the secondaries.
I thought we did some good things. There were some times we were getting open, and unfortunately we weren't able to get the ball to them. But we didn't play good enough to win. And that's our main goal as a wide receiving core, is that we go out and play good enough to help this team win. And regardless of the stats that we have, and going back and grading them, at the end of the day, if we don't have a W, it really doesn't matter.
With Brandon, how much of it was getting healthy, and how much of it was, like you said, getting to a point where he could play fast these last couple of weeks, maybe?
I think it's a combination of both. He is healthy. He's running around a lot better. But at the end of the day, you got to know what you're doing. And that was the thing. When he got in, he knew what he was doing. I think he had one time in the game Saturday that he went to, didn't execute the assignment he had the way he needed to. And we're going to get that corrected. But if he keeps progressing the way he's doing right now, we're going to be fine.
Michael, you guys have not had an SEC home game yet. Has that been frustrating, not to be able to get back at home and play in front of home fans?
To have the opportunity to play in front of your home crowd is always, to me, an advantage. And a lot of people say it's 7 points. So hopefully we can do that and get back in front of our crowd, and our crowd can hassle the other team instead of us being hassled. So it's going to be a welcoming environment, I'm sure, and we're looking forward to it.
We saw a little bit of that big arm that Cole has, and you got some guys that can go and catch it with Jordan and now Brandon in the mix. So I guess what do you see as possibilities with that, with being able to use this big arm with your guys?
We just want to continue to grow. I think Coach Enos, and I've said this before, Coach Enos and the rest of the offensive staff, we put together some really good game plans, and it's our kids that got to go out. They have to go out and execute it once they cross that white line. And to answer your question about Cole's big arm, I recruited him, so we knew that. We knew that off the tape. It was just a case of him getting his opportunity, and unfortunately, he had to get it the way he's gotten it. But he's a big boy. He's playing in a big boy league, and he's going to do big boy things for us.
Solid, Michael. Get out there for it.
Welcome in. It's our Wednesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. It's Hump Day edition of Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio here on the Hill with Pat Jenkins. It's brought to you each and every day by Lindsay & Associates, locations in Fayetteville. Locations also too in Rogers. Lindsay & Associates, we bring great neighbors together. This is also brought to you by Locomotion. You can catch them just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And lastly, Fun City. They can be found just off the 412 bypass in Springdale, Arkansas. And if you don't get a chance to catch us each and every day here on our live stream, check us out on iHeartRadio as we podcast each and every day's top segment of OTH on iHeartRadio in the evenings. So if you're not doing anything, want to hear some good sports talk in the evenings, check us out on iHeartRadio. And we came in today's show with audio from Arkansas wide receivers coach Michael Smith. Each and every day they're made available to the media. And Mike talked about Brandon Martin, just his continuous progression in the offense, and showed real well last weekend at Alabama, and had a had a flash or two in the South Carolina game. You can kind of see this, and Demetrius, you've talked about this as I bring in my producer for Demetrius and get his thoughts. But you talked quite a bit about Brandon Martin getting more into it, and I just think that you can just kind of tell they're really starting to look number 5's way when it pertains to this offense.
I definitely will have to agree. Repetition is the father of learning. I just think he needs to get in there and get actual game time experience, and you're really going to see him develop.
Well, we got a big show today. Next segment, we're going to have the Knoxville News Centennials. Blake Topmeyer, they've got a big game versus the Alabama Crimson Tide, and we'll get Blake's take on what they have to do to slow down the Tide, and also, too, how much pressure continues to mount there in Knoxville for Butch Jones if he doesn't get it done this week and for the duration of this season. And then we're going to follow that up at 1:30 with Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama. We'll recap this game that they just had versus the Razorbacks, and we'll get off into that Tennessee, Alabama rivalry talk. Just how big is it, with it having such a storied past of great ball games. We'll talk to Stephen and get his take. And then we're going to close it out today with a little Arkansas Fastest 40. Coach Anderson and Jalen Barford, Daryl Macon sat down with a couple of guys from the SEC and had a little discussion. We'll let you hear what those guys have to say about this upcoming season, expectations, just how big of a driving force was that loss at to North Carolina in the round of 32 in last year's NCAA tournament. But kicking back over really quickly, your thoughts. How many games you think you're going to make this year? That's what I need to get from my producer. How many times I'm going to see you at basketball this year?
Due to work, it'll probably be about 5, man. I'll probably just be going to those SEC games on the week. But I'll definitely be tuning in on the Hogs basketball season.
Well, we're going to step away, get a quick break. We'll get you a little what Butch Jones thinks about this past South Carolina game. And then, what's his thoughts on the Alabama Crimson Tide. And then Blake Topmeyer of the Knoxville News Centennial. He's up next. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins. Back in a moment.